think, you know, some people say I'm an asshole driver and I put other people in danger and blah 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 blah. F you. I'm like, oh my god, I just stalled. Alright, hello everyone, my name is M13 and I am YouTube's most subscribed and most viewed motorcycle blogger, and I also made the most viewed and highest rated how to ride a motorcycle video. But that was quite a while ago and it's a bit outdated and the camera on it is not very good, so I'm going to remake it. And yeah, so first things first, this is a motorcycle. And if you want to ride one, first things you should know are, before you even attempt to ride a motorcycle, you need some protective gear. I'd say as a minimum, because we're not talking about professional. You're not a professional bike rider, or you're not going to take it out on the highway your first ride. So minimum, you need a helmet and gloves, and I'd say that's it. Blue jeans, a leather jacket if you have one. You know, like if you're not wearing a leather jacket and you fall off, you're gonna cut up your arms. You're gonna get some like road rash, but you're not gonna die. So not riding around the parking lot anyways. So yeah, blue helmet and gloves. Gloves are really needed because there's a good chance you might drop the bike the first couple times, and if you scrape up your hands, you're not going to be able to practice again for days. But if you got gloves on, you can jump right back on again and try again. If you're wearing, another thing is if you're wearing shoes with shoelaces, it's good to take the bows of the shoelaces and to tuck them in under the other laces that are here, or you can tuck the shoelaces back into the shoe because you don't want them to get caught on something. Quick overview of a motorcycle. The left-hand side of the bike is for gears and shifting. This is the clutch here, and these are the gears. I'll get into shifting gears a little bit later. And then the right-hand side of the motorcycle is for stopping and going. This is the front brake. This is the rear brake, and this is the go stick, as we professionals like to call it. No, it's the accelerator or the gas. Yeah, so you got brake, gas. So the right-hand side is for going and stopping, and the left-hand side is for shifting gears. You should always get on and off a motorcycle from the left-hand side. Two main reasons for this are the muffler is usually on the right-hand side, and you can get burned by it if you're stepping off a bike. If you're stepping off a bike and you got one leg on the ground and one leg in the air, and it touches a pipe, it starts getting burned. You can't really move the leg over because you got one leg up in the air. So you need to. Yeah, well, I got two cameras going. So if you're getting off and you got if you got one foot up in the air and the other leg is getting burnt by a pipe, you can't move the leg. So you'll be getting burned for a good solid second or two before you can get out of the way. My pipe is actually kind of underneath, but on most motorcycles it sticks out more. So, and there's another reason. The other reason is because the stand, the motorcycle's leg, if you will, is on the left-hand side. So by getting on and off from the left, there's less chance of the bike tipping over to the left than there is to the right. So those are the starting basics. Okay, so let's say getting on from the left, I'm sitting on the bike, stand it up. You need to, the kickstart, the leg needs to be put in. If it's still out, the bike won't start. It has an automatic. It's a safety feature, so it stops you from riding the motorcycle with the leg out, because it could catch on something and cause you to crash. So if the leg's out, the bike won't run. So you kick the leg in, you put the key in the ignition, turn it to on, watch the pretty dash do its thing. The green light is on. That means it's in neutral. It's in. If the bike wasn't in neutral, let's get it out of neutral. I'm rolling the bike forward because motorcycles sometimes they don't like to shift when at a complete stop. So sometimes you need to move them a couple of feet to shift. A lot of new bike riders have trouble with that because they'll stop at a red light and they'll be in third gear or something, and then the light goes green and they try to shift down to first to go and they can't, and they don't understand why. They get confused by it. It's because bikes are made to shift while moving, so you might just need to roll the bike forward a foot or two as you're shifting down to first. Okay, so let's say for example, I started the bike and the red light comes on, which is an oil check, and it's normal. And then the green light is off, so that means I'm not in neutral. So normally what you do is you pull the clutch in, you shift all the way down, just keep shifting down. See, it lets me go down. In this case, it won't let me go into first because I need to roll it a bit. It goes all the way down to neutral by itself. So now I'm in neutral. I can start the bike. This is the starter. This is a kill switch. If the kill switch is on, then you can't start the bike. This means the bike can run. A lot of times you get that happening as well. You get some guy goes to start his bike won't start, and he's new to biking, and he's like, what the heck? And he turns the bike off, turns the bike on, tries to start her, makes sure it's in neutral, tries to start her, won't start, checks the battery, etc., etc. Meanwhile, it's just a switch. You gotta make sure the switch is down. Okay, so the bike's running. You've never ridden a bike before in your life. What do you do now? The first thing you need to do is shift down and pull the clutch in, down into first gear. Now this is the thing. The most important first step is figuring out where this clutch engages, because the point at where this clutch engages is where the point where the bike starts to go. And you got many videos on the internet of some guy, first time on a bike, he gives it gas, he lets the clutch out too fast, and it catches, and then he panics, and by panicking he tenses up his arm and pulls on the gas, opening it up more, and then he just shoots forward, and then he smashes into that wall, flips over, kicks that guy in the head, lands on his feet, and says, "I'm a ninja." But for this video, we don't want to do that. I'm going to show you something that I discovered the last time I did this video. I'm not going to give the bike any gas at all, okay? This hand's off. So we got two hands here, just focusing on the clutch. Let it out slowly, slowly, slowly. Oh, bike starts to move. We've discovered where that clutch needs to be for the bike to move. I suggest you do this another 5 to 10 times. Let the clutch out, let the clutch out. Oh, I let it out too quick. Bike stalls. Don't panic, no big deal. Pull the clutch back in. You don't necessarily need to go back down to neutral. If the clutch is in, that's enough. Hit start. Bike starts back up. Start again. Clutch out, clutch out, clutch out, clutch out. Bike starts to move. Pull it back in. Clutch out, clutch out, clutch out. Bike starts to move. See, I can do this really quickly because I'm used to this clutch. It's my bike. So, for example, I can just go. I don't have to let it out slowly, slowly, slowly. I can just go from all the way in to right where it's going to start. Now if I let it out a bit more, the bike starts to move. I don't know if you can tell, but yeah, you can tell. And see, that's the thing. I don't even need... I'm going to let the clutch out all the way. There we go. Clutch is out all the way. I never gave the bike any gas at all. I'm now driving a motorcycle with one hand, not using any gas whatsoever. So, there's so many videos where someone gives it too much gas the first time they ride the bike. You don't need to give it any gas the first time you ride a bike. Look, I'm doing a nice circle around this parking lot here with one hand on the clutch. If it's your first time, don't use one hand. That's advice number 2 there. Okay, so I just flicked the back up to neutral because I want to stop and I don't want to turn the bike off. To do that, it's all the way down. You push this all the way down to first gear, and then from first gear, you just give it a tap up to neutral. So it's first, neutral, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. And people often ask, well, if it's first, then neutral, and then second, does that mean every time you shift up from first to second, you got to click up twice? And the answer is no, because neutral is a half a click. It's just a light tap. If you're in first gear and you just kick up, you'll go to second. If you're in first gear and you just kind of tap it, you'll go to neutral. And generally, the bike kind of helps you along with that as well. Like, the bike seems to know. Like, if you're at a stop and you're shifting up from first, the bike kind of knows you want to go to neutral, not second, because why would you want to go to second at a complete stop? And if your bike's moving, same thing goes. If you're in first gear shifting up while the bike's moving, it seems to know. But, yeah, so I was just in first. I gave it a little tap up into neutral. Bike's still running. I'm going to stop. So, let's try it again. Pull clutch in. Shift down. Now, the point is you just want to run to master the clutch, because 99% of the time when a new motorcyclist stalls a bike, it's because he lets the clutch out too fast on the start, like this. Oh, and then the car behind him starts to honk, and he misses the, he's sitting at a green light, and he gets nervous, and then he starts it up, and then and then he stalls it again because he's nervous and he's overreacting. So the thing that you want to master as a new motorcyclist is just how the clutch works. Let it out slowly. Okay, the bike's moving a little bit. I'm going to give it a little bit of gas, just around 2,000 RPM. Bike idle's around 1,000 or a little bit less. If you want to ride, I'd say give it around 2,000 RPMs. Just give it an extra 1,000 worth of gas, no higher than that. And remember, if you get in a situation like all those videos where somebody panics and they give it too much gas and they start to shoot off, it's difficult to turn the gas off when you're panicking because you're tensed up and you're pulling harder. It's also difficult to brake because you're going hard on the gas, so if you start to brake and go hard on the gas at the same time, the bike probably just flip on its side. One thing you could do is just pull the clutch back in. You pull the clutch back in, doesn't matter how much gas you give it, you're not going anywhere because the clutch is in. So if you pull the clutch back in, yeah, so just if you get in a panic situation, my suggestion is pull the clutch in. and then it doesn't matter how much gas you're giving it, the bike's not going to go. And then you can start to brake. Even if you're still giving it lots of gas, you can brake because the acceleration is rendered useless because of the fact the clutch is in. So even if you accidentally got the throttle stuck open, you can brake. Well, but first pull the clutch in first, and then you can brake. And then you can just use your thumb to flick this and kill the bike. Probably be better if you did that earlier on in, in that explanation. But you know, if this hand is like messed up and you're panicking, you might forget everything about this hand. So either flick it off or pull the clutch in and then flick it off. So those are the two. In a panic situation, either this or this should be your first step. You know, if you could just turn the gas off, that would be the first step. But in a panic situation, that's not necessarily a choice. Okay, so we've got the clutch down. So like I said, okay, so let's see what's happened now. I don't even know what gear I'm in anymore because I just turned the bike off when I was moving. So pull the clutch in, push down. I've been pushing down, but nothing's happening. So what does that tell me? It tells me I'm in first gear. I'm already at the very bottom. So I need to go half a click up to get to neutral. And the neutral light comes on, and now I can walk around easily with the bike. And as you can see in the third-person perspective, I'm not a big guy. Okay, you know, there are girls like 5 foot 4 inch tall girls that ride 1,000-pound Harleys, and if they can do it, you can do it. So it just takes some getting used to. That's all it is. It's just if you get on a bike and you feel uncomfortable and you feel like it's heavy and you feel like it's going to tip over, it's just because you're not used to it. That's all. It's nothing to do with how big you are or how strong you are. It's just a matter of getting... See, I can stand up here and just like flick this bike around. Like this bike probably weighs, I don't know, 400 pounds or something. No, it's probably... No, I'm wrong. It's around 300 pounds. I think it's like 280, and then with gas and battery and stuff, it's probably around 300. So, you know, I weigh around 170, and this bike weighs around 300 pounds, and I'm just throwing it around. You get used to it. You couldn't do that if you were just new to a bike. Getting on top. So, quick summarization. First time riding a motorcycle, get on from the left-hand side, make sure the kickstand is up, make sure that you're in neutral, pull the clutch in, shift down. Then let the clutch out slowly. When you feel the bike just start to pull a little bit, you know you're at the point where you need to really let it out slowly. And then give it maybe a tad of gas, get the bike rolling. Once the bike gets rolling, people don't realize there's very little balance involved. You know, a bike just stays up on its own. Once it starts, there's a lot of people who don't ride motorcycles assume that you're balancing the bike on two wheels. You're not. The bike balances itself. All you need to do is just give it a bit of gas, and it just stays up. Yeah, and then a good practice is what I'm doing now. Like I'm rolling with the clutch. I'm actually rolling slow. If I hit the clutch out right now, the bike actually speeds up a bit. So I'm kind of just practice rolling along at this kind of a speed. If I were to go faster, if I were to accelerate, this is much easier, okay? I can take both hands off. It's easier. The quicker you go, the easier it is to ride.
More Death 13.
His car is fast.
That's how young riders, man.
I am a dirty man.